My friends, my heartfelt advice is to be fearless and be courageous. Don't let this world back you into a corner where you surrender your dreams. I feel very strongly about that. There are haters everywhere, and they cannot win without your permission. You have to learn how to fight the good fight. I'm telling you. I feel very strongly about this. You have to learn how to fight. I don't mean in a physical sense, but you have to learn how to fight back when someone looks you dead in your eye and say, you're not going to be able to pull that off. You're not going to be able to do that. Don't you remember what happened to you? Don't you remember what you did? None of that matters in this equation. You must be prepared, and you're doing that now by getting a solid education. And once you get that degree, you go forward and, baby, fake it till you make it. That's what most people I know do. Fake it till you make it. Never say die.
All right, thank you, thank you.
When I'm hiring, I want people who are demonstrate that they're fast learners. You don't have to be someone who's an expert in technology. I was a government major in college, so definitely not what I'm necessarily looking for, but I'm looking for someone who's gonna ask questions and get up to speed, and who I can trust with something and who can drive that forward. And I think that's really important to demonstrate during interviews. And I think you can do that by asking a lot of questions to who you're talking to and just trying to learn. I think that really is a key way to appear as if you're a go-getter and someone who is going to be an asset to the team.
This is the best thing to do. Yeah. You just pretend. You set yourself up because you know you're going to get yelled at or like be in trouble in some capacity. So you just like you deal with that however you know best how, and you do whatever you got to do to know that, and then you literally just pretend, and then. Luckily, in my industry, and I'm sure in other industries, everybody else also doesn't know what they are talking about. So there's eventually some sort of common ground is sort of, at least in podcasting, it's a fake new thing. So they pretend they know what they're talking about, I pretend I know what I'm talking about, and eventually there's some sort of collaboration in the middle financially, and we all sort of, pretend and cross our fingers and hope some dollars are there at the end of the equation.
But I found the things I noticed, to cut to the chase here, I know there's a lot of talk about do you study, when you're somebody like me, when I have some privilege that I can impart to somebody else, do you look at their social media to see who they are? Why? I don't do that. I know people do that, but I like people who can present their skills to you first, or their interests, like if you send a resume that's just a list of stuff, it's really hard to get a feel for who you are. It's almost like the college essay matters as much as I think it should matter more than the SATs. Yeah, so I mean, I've noticed people have started to write like, I'm really good at blah, blah, blah. I like doing this. I'm interested in that. That helps me a lot, and you stand out, when you do that.
And my point is that some of you should think about becoming CEOs of a company. It's a fun job. I'm telling you, it is a fun job. And And every CEO I've talked to, not one has said, I have a side hustle. Not a single one. And anyone I do talk to that talks about side hustle, and I ask them how much money you're making, how do you measure your success, it's difficult for them to answer. Well, I'm not against following a dream. If you have a passion for something, you absolutely have to go for it. But it is not easy to become a CEO of a company if you're worried about some side hustle. So unless you have the capacity and the real commitment and the realization that perhaps you're not looking to become a CEO of a major company, I get it. I totally do. But some of us need to be thinking about a great corporate career to where you can run something, because you will have a voice, you will have influence, you will make sure the young kid that talked about diversity, all that kind of stuff can be dealt with if some of us are in the company. If all of us are so worried about some get-rich scheme, that keeps us out of the mainstream. So just be careful of that.
So as you launch and navigate your careers, don't just be a maintainer.
Use your business knowledge and your growing experience to think about how things could be done better. What problems can you work on to solve? Have an innovative entrepreneurial mindset as you learn about how things work. Think about how to improve the process, the product, the revenue, and the bottom line. You don't have to be a technologist to be innovative or disruptive. Use your understanding of business to make things more efficient and more satisfying to the end user. Maybe it will involve new technology, or maybe it will just be a smarter way to use what we already have. For now, I encourage you to make the most of today. Lean into it, ask questions, share your constructive thoughts. I sincerely thank you all for being here. Thank you to Dolly, who spends all year putting this together for us. And thank you to everybody who's working on making this day successful.